They are on vacation in a small Croatian town of Li Tolka and staying in a luxury resort. Waking up in the morning, both of them see outside the hotel, then from there, both proceed for breakfast. As they depart, a nearby group of locals prepare for an event called The Summoning. At the event, many patrons wear grotesque masks as part of the tradition. A while later James joins M and M share a meal, but James seems less interested in taking in what the area has to offer than M. After having breakfast, James watches a race event and is approached by a young woman named Gabby Bauer. She tells James that she is a fan of his book that James wrote many years ago, and she invites him to have dinner with her and her husband Albin. In the evening, both couples are seen in a restaurant. Albin is an interior designer and Gabby is a commercial actor. M runs a publishing company. She is a wealthy woman and James relies on her money. Gabby shows her acting there. Later, James dances with Gabby, where he has a strange feeling. The next day, James and M chat outside the hotel. M feels worried when she learns that Li Tolka is a poor country and has a high level of crime against foreigners. She asks James not to go with strangers, but James thinks they are good people because they had dinner with them yesterday. They are then met by Gabby and Albin, who take them on a drive to the countryside, despite the strict rules that guests are not allowed to leave the resort. The couples then spend the afternoon at the beach. Shortly after, James goes to urinate behind a tree, when Gabby unexpectedly grabs him, and proceeds to give him a manual stimulation and leaves after satisfying him. As night falls, the drunken couple begins driving back to the resort with James driving. But suddenly, the car's headlights start flashing. While there, James gets distracted and accidentally runs into a local resident. Everyone then comes out to check the man and finds him dead, which seems very strange to them. James then says that now he has to go to the police. But Gabby insists that they cannot call the police because the country is corrupt and they have no security. James agrees to her and move the body off the side of the road. They then make their way back, with Albin resuming the driving. The following day, James is greeted at his front door by the police, who arrest him for hit and run. The Fosters are then taken down to the police station, where James meets Detective Thresh. He tells James that the car he was driving was given to them by Thresh's uncle, but for his own benefit, he allows him to lie during the interrogation and say that the Bauers stole the car, which they already confessed to. Thresh explains that the policy against crimes like hit and run is death, with the family's eldest son killing the perpetrator to protect the family's honor. However, Thresh offers James an option to clone himself so that his doppelganger will go down for his crimes, as this is a policy in Li Tolka for wealthy visitors. James agrees to go through with it. Shortly after, Detective Thresh gets him to sign a paper. James then takes some money out of the card and gives it to them. The next day, James goes through the procedure. He enters the chamber and covers his body in a red liquid. He experiences disturbing visions and hallucination, including Gabby walking naked around him. Moments later, M wakes James up, but he's still at the police station. Then they both come down and meet Detective Thresh. There, Thresh shows his clone which looks exactly like him. As soon as the clone opens his eyes, James gets scared. Shortly after, among all the prisoners, we see James's clone and James is sitting on the other side to witness the execution. Then a boy steps forward and starts stabbing the clone unconscious in the stomach. He slaughters him badly. M is horrified by the whole incident, especially since the double is pleading for her life and she wants to leave immediately, but James pretends to lose his passport as an excuse to stay. He explains to her that he can't leave without his passport. He tells M to return to America without him and he will be back in a few weeks. The next morning James extends his stay at the resort and meets Gabby and Albin again. Gabby explains everything to him, because she knows everything about what happened to him and about the unique legal system in this country. Gabby then takes James to meet Albin and other wealthy tourists, Charles, Jennifer, Dr. Moden, and Bex, who have been convicted of major crimes in the local country and have had made doubles for their crimes. These people commit heinous crimes, and pay to watch their doubles get slaughtered. At night, the group leaves wearing scary masks from earlier, to commit hedonistic acts. They break into the home of a wealthy couple and finds the owner with his mistress and tie them up. James is very nervous and then Gabby asks him to kill the owner, but James is unable to kill as he has never killed anyone before. Only then another guest comes to shoot a gun at them, causing Gabby to start shooting at him and the other guests, while Albin also gets shot in the leg. As Indian dance performance takes place in the hotel and all the guests return to the hotel there. The next day everyone is in jail after they are found out. Shortly after, Detective Thresh enters and says this time they have crossed the limits. Then other officers come there and catch them and tie them up. They then end up making doubles for each of them and sit back and watch the doubles being executed as if they were watching a show. Afterwards, James returns to his hotel room to find Em still there, disgusted by his decision to stay at the resort. He coldly tells her to run back to her father. The next day, Gabby meets him on the beach and kisses him. James then embarks on a drug-fueled sexual relationship with Gabby and also participates in an orgy with her. That night, James breaks into the facility and joins the group when he begins beating a man who has a bag over his head. James brutally beats the man until he takes off his mask and discovers that it is one of his own doppelgangers, which makes him uncomfortable. Everyone starts laughing at James and he finds this thing very strange. He then goes to lock himself in the bathroom. He's embarrassed and now starting to feel this madness. They called him out, but now he doesn't want to do that anymore. James comes to his senses and grabs his passport and boards the bus to run off. Unfortunately, the bus is chased by Gabby and her group, and she starts shooting it with a gun, knowing that James is there. They gets him out and make him walk in front of their car. Gabby then starts taunting James, saying she's never read his book, and taunts him with one of the many rave reviews the book has received. James tries to run, but Gabby shoots him in the leg. He wanders as much as he can until he is out of the group. James collapses near the farm and is taken in by the farmers to recover. He experiences terrifying hallucinations, such as the collision victim's eldest son coming to choke him, and visions of Em joining the group to bully him. As he tries to leave, Gabby and her group find James, who forces him to complete his transformation by having him kill his double. James initially refuses until the double starts attacking him like a wild animal and James reluctantly beats him to death. As she breaks down, Gabby holds James close and lets him suck on her breast. After a few days, James calls Em, apologizing for his actions and tells her that he is coming back to home. The next day, he takes a bus with the rest of the group to the airport. But while waiting at the airport, James changes his mind and returns to the resort, just as storm season begins, and he sits by the pool in the pouring rain, completely devastated by the experience. So, that's the end of our movie. If you've come this far, make sure to give a thumbs up and subscribe my channel. See you later.